So thank you for coming out. It's really cold out there today. Yeah. So, okay. So, how about we start with a little bit of breathing this morning? If you want to come right up to the front edge of your chair. And I think I mentioned this last week, but for folks who maybe weren't here last week, the chairs are about 8 feet apart. And what I've been told is that you can leave your mask on if you're comfortable with that, or you can take your mask off if you're more comfortable with that. Just when we're done and you're going out into the rest of the building, they ask that you put your mask back on. So I just wanted to give you that information. Everybody can do what they're most comfortable with. Okay, so if you come right up to the front of your chair, have your feet right underneath your knees, nice and flat on the floor. And feel your sitting bones. So make sure you're kind of sitting square on your sitting bones. In other words, not leaning to one side or the other. And then notice if your shoulders are in front of your hips a little bit, if you're kind of slouching, looking down. See if you can bring your shoulders right up over your hips. And then just draw your shoulder blades, really gently draw your shoulder blades together a little bit. And after you do that, then just relax all those muscles. So sometimes we concentrate so much on pulling the shoulders back that we get into this kind of tense position in the upper part of the back. So you just want to draw them down and then relax a little bit. And let your hands be soft. So whether your hands are together or apart, if they're up or down. And then notice if your chin is lifted a little bit. See if you can tuck your chin slightly. So your chin is moving a little bit more toward your collarbones. And now imagine your head is like a water balloon and it's just sort of perched on top of your shoulders. And if it's comfortable, you can close your eyes. If you've already got your eyes closed, that's great. So just by closing the eyes, you're taking away all that visual stimulation. And notice what you're feeling in your body this morning. So maybe starting at your feet. What do your feet feel like? Your ankles, your legs. Notice how your knees feel. Your thighs, your hips. Notice your low back and your belly. Notice your rib cage. Your upper back, your shoulder blades, your chest, the tops of your shoulders. Notice what you're feeling in your upper arms, your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, hands, fingers, and your face, your jaw, your cheeks, around your eyes, your brow, your nose, your ears, and your head in general. And now turn your attention to your breath and notice the way the air is moving in and out of your body. As you inhale, where do you feel movement? And likewise, as you exhale, where is your body moving in response to that exhalation? And then inquire deeper as you breathe in and out. What does that movement feel like? Can you feel expansion and contraction? Can you feel areas of tension and softening? Are there areas of discomfort and ease? And how does the breath make you more aware of different parts of your body? As you breathe in, does the air move evenly between the right and left nostrils, or is one side a little more open than the other? Is the air warm or cool as you breathe in and out. And now let your breath deepen so that as you breathe in, you feel your belly expand. And as you breathe out, you can pull your navel in toward your spine, compressing the abdomen a little bit. That helps with the exhalation. So with each inhalation, allow the belly to be soft and expanded. And with each exhalation, pull your navel in a little bit, engaging those abdominal muscles. Deep belly breathing, expanding the belly on the inhalation and contracting the belly on the exhalation. And as you continue to notice the belly expanding and contracting with each breath in and out, draw your attention up to your rib cage. And as you breathe in, feel your rib cage expand, the front, sides, and back. As you exhale, feel your rib cage contract, again, the front, sides, and back. So breathing in, the belly and the rib cage expand. Breathing out, the belly and rib cage contract. And if you can't feel that, see if you can let the breath grow deeper, longer, slower. As you're sensing the movement in your belly and your rib cage, draw a little bit more of your awareness up to the tops of your shoulders. And as you breathe in, allow the tops of your shoulders to gently rise. And as you breathe out, feel the tops of your shoulders gently fall. Not engaging the muscles in the shoulders, but allowing the breath to do that movement. Inhalations create expansion in the belly, the ribs, and the shoulders. Exhalations create a little bit of contraction in the belly, the ribs, and the shoulders. Long, slow, deep breaths. And as you're noticing the belly, rib cage, and shoulders expanding on the inhalations, we're going to add a little bit of movement. And you can do this with your eyes closed if you'd like, or you can let your eyes open, whatever is most comfortable. With your next inhalation, as the belly, the rib cage, and the shoulders expand, you're going to sweep your arms out to the sides, bring them all the way up overhead. So this is still on the inhalation. And at the very top of the inhalation, we're going to turn the palms out, bring the arms down as you exhale, nice and slow, so still exhaling. And with each inhalation, the arms are going to come up as the belly, rib cage, and shoulders expand. And with each exhalation, the arms are going to come out to the sides and all the way down as the belly, rib cage, and shoulders gently contract. So let the movement of your arms get a lot slower, and that means slowing down the breath. So it takes a long time to inhale the arms up and a long time to exhale the arms down. As you breathe in and expand the arms up, feel the expansion come up under your armpits. And as you're exhaling down, keep reaching out through your fingers and lengthening your arms. So again, we're still getting this sense of elongation, this sense of expansion. Two more breaths, nice, long, slow, deep breaths up and down. And with your last exhalation, as the arms come all the way down, you can release the control of your breath. You can relax your arms, maybe let your hands rest on your lap. Just breathe naturally, inhaling and exhaling. Noticing if you have a different sense of your body responding to the breath. And then let your eyes gently open. Good. I'm going to continue some work with the arms and hands. So take your hands out to the sides. We'll start with some movement for the fingers. Notice how those fingers feel this morning. So anybody with a little bit of arthritis that doesn't respond well to the cold, the fingers can be a little crabby this morning. Other people have arthritis that doesn't respond well to heat. So some people have more problems, like in the summer when it gets really humid. They can feel their joints a little bit more. So let's do a little bit more focused work for the hands this morning. So you're going to take your hands right down to your lap. Just let them rest one on each leg. And then we're just going to lift the thumbs. Just the thumbs, one at a time or both at the same time. Just notice how your thumbs lift and all the other fingers stay on your lap and your palms stay on your lap, right? So you don't want to lift your palm up. Okay, and then let the thumbs come down. Let's take the first fingers, and we're going to do the same thing. So just lifting, and see if you can lift just the first fingers, not the other fingers, not the thumbs, not the palms. It doesn't seem like we're doing much, but believe it or not, we're isolating some really important movement in the hands right now. And then let your first fingers rest, and we're going to take the second fingers, that middle finger, and see if you can lift it. And again, just notice if the other fingers are like getting a little tense or if they're trying to lift off your lap. Notice your breath, if you've started holding your breath, or maybe your breath has gotten a little shallow. And then we'll leave those fingers down, and now take just your ring finger, that's your third finger, right? Some people might say, oh, that's your fourth finger, but if you have a thumb and four fingers, that's how I'm kind of describing it. So notice, this finger sometimes it's a little harder to move this finger than the other one, right? Yeah. You might notice some tension in your hands and arms, right? You might notice some tension in your brain trying to get this to work the way that we're trying to do it. And then let's let all those fingers rest, and now take just the little fingers, the fourth fingers. And just the little fingers lifting. And notice that's a little bit easier. Funny, huh? Let's go backwards. So let's go to the ring finger again. Breathe in and out as you're doing this. And know that it's normal that this finger doesn't like to move on its own. It likes to move with its partner because there's a little vestigial ligament between your second and third fingers for most of us. Not everybody has that intact, but most of us do have that. Some people have it even more. So let's go to the second finger now. Some folks have like a little bit of a webbing between those fingers still. So it's a holdover from our evolution, right? So breathing in, breathing out, and then first fingers. Look how easy that is, right? Compared to those middle fingers, and then thumbs. Okay, and then just kind of shake that out a little bit. Good, and let's circle the wrists. So get some movement in there, and reverse direction. So it's like we're conducting a symphony in here. And then let's extend both arms with the fingers up toward the ceiling. Spread your fingers really wide. Get your thumb and your little finger on each hand. Get them as far away from each other as they'll go, right? So really spread those fingers wide. Okay, and then relax the fingers in the hands and bring the wrists down. So we're going up and spread the fingers wide and then down. And breathe. So we're just going to do this little movement for the wrists. Now the movement, we're looking at the movement and the hand is moving, right? But the muscles that are creating this movement are in your forearms. So it's the forearm muscles. When I lift my fingers up, the muscles on the top part of the forearm are engaging or contracting, and the muscles on the bottom part of the forearm are getting stretched. Likewise, when I bring my fingers down toward the floor, the muscles on the bottom part of the forearm, the low underside of the forearm, those are contracting, and the muscles on the upper part of the forearm are actually getting stretched. There'll be a quiz at the end of this. It'll be multiple choice. So circle around a little bit. Good. And then let's stretch that right arm out, and we're going to pull these fingers back. So pull them back like you're trying to touch your fingernails to your elbow, right? Imagine that, right? Yikes. Okay, breathe in and out. Now gently bend your elbow a little bit, and then you're going to gently straighten your elbow. So as you're pulling back on your fingers, you're gently bending and then straightening that elbow. So now we're stretching the muscles in the forearm, right? As well as the muscles that cross the elbow. So when you straighten your elbow, you're actually stretching some of the muscles up here in the upper part of the arm. When the elbow is bent, you're getting more of a stretch in the muscles in the forearm. Okay. And then we're going to relax that and bring the fingers down. And now press on the back of your hand, not your fingers, but on the back of your hand. Just kind of press that back until you feel a sensation of stretch here. And once again, we'll work with the elbow. So a little bit of a bend and extend. Now, if your arm is way up here, drop it down. This is a really easy movement. So you can even have your arm way down here if that's more comfortable. So if you've got a shoulder issue that, having your arm straight up is giving you some trouble this morning, just kind of bend that or kind of lower that shoulder a little bit. Good. Excellent. And last time we're going to extend and hold and breathe. So get a little bit more of a stretch in through there. Good. And then relax that and circle that wrist around a little bit. Let's go to the other side. We're going to extend that left hand and then pull back on the fingers. So see if you can get all 4 fingers. So don't let the little finger kind of hang out. See if you can get all 4 of them. And then just really gently bend and extend. Right? Just a real gentle bend and extend. And just do the best you can. If you notice that the shoulder's a little tight, if your shoulder's up around your ear, see if you can drop it down. If your jaw is clenched, see if you can release the tension in your jaw. Another place we like to squirrel away our tension, right? Jaw is a good place. Next time you extend, hold there. So it's like you're trying to pull your fingernails back onto your elbow a little bit. Good, and then we're just going to relax that. Let the fingers come down toward the floor. Press on the back of the hand. Once again, we're working with the elbow. So just a little bend and a little extend, right? So just a little bend. You don't have to do a big bend here. I like to do it just so I can feel the difference between the stretch of the forearm muscles and the stretch of the muscles that come up here into that upper arm. So if anybody's ever had tennis elbow or tendonitis in the elbow, this is a good little stretch to do for that, right? Those little tendons can get really tight. So we're just going to extend that elbow and hold here for a breath or two. Good. Relaxing the breath, relaxing the jaw. Good, and then relax that hand. Let's circle around. So your wrist should feel like you've done something here already this morning. And then we're going to take the arms out to the sides, and we're going to do a little work for the elbows. So we're just bending and extending, right? So just starting here, very easy movement. You always want to do movement across a joint, like what we're doing here, bending the arms. You want to do that in a very light fashion to start, and then add a little bit of tension. So anybody who works with weights or bands, you want to do a couple of these without a weight first, just to kind of make sure the joint is working the way it should be working and it's pain-free. Now the next time that your hands are on your shoulders, we're going to hold here, drop the shoulders down away from the ears, and then make 2 light fists. Very light fists. And imagine you've got weights in your hands. Now the elbows stay lifted, right? So don't let your elbows come down. You want to keep your elbows lifted. Imagine you got 5 pounds in each hand, right? And you're going to engage these muscles right here. These are your biceps muscles. So as you extend, keep squeezing those biceps muscles. Go very, very slowly. You got 5 pounds on the right and 5 pounds on the left. As you bend, same thing, very slowly. Squeeze those muscles. Make really big Popeye muscles there. And then out and in. Man, Popeye, I haven't thought of Popeye in a long time. Wow. I don't even know if that's on TV anymore. Good. Excellent. So upper body strength, we don't really do a lot of that as we age. Somehow we get caught in lower body stuff, right? So we walk and we might hike a little bit and we do all kinds of lower body stuff, but maybe not so much the upper body. So just do the best you can with this. If you're having some issue with your shoulders, bring your arms down. That's okay. Okay. All right, next time your hands are on your shoulders, remember you got 5 pounds in each hand, and we're going to go up overhead if that's available to you, right? So if you can, press up overhead, and then as you come down, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Now, if you don't have this range up overhead available to you this morning, you're going to take your hands forward. So you're just going to go like this, okay? So either way, either up overhead or all the way forward. And all the way is relative. So if you have one arm that doesn't straighten all the way, go as far as you can. Good. So what I really want you to focus on, though, is what's happening in the back of the body when you bring your arms down. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. Good. And are you breathing? Too many things to do all at the same time. Let's see if we can do this while breathing smooth and round breaths. So when I say round breaths, what I mean is no pausing, no holding your breath, okay? So just let the breath go nice and smooth. Next time you squeeze the shoulder blades, we're going to hold here for a moment, breathing in and out, and then relax your fists a little bit here. Okay, now can you keep squeezing your shoulder blades, can you take your elbows up behind you and then lower them down? So up and lower. Now if you're doing this and you're feeling your head come forward, I want you to focus on keeping your head right above your shoulders. And we're squeezing those shoulder blades together and lifting the elbows at the same time, but not the shoulder tops, right? So it's not this, it's this. Right? I'll do that again. Not this, but rather this. Good. Okay. Next time your elbows come up behind, we're going to hold there, right? So hold there, drop the shoulders away from the ears, and now we're just going to extend the arms and bend. So the elbows are still lifted back there, right? Shoulder blades are still squeezed. We're just moving those forearms back and forth. Relax your neck. I can see some necks kind of like this. See if you can relax the necks. Good. And next time you have your arms out behind you, hold there, and then we'll do like a little bit of a flutter, right? So kind of like you got a little wing back there. So a little bit of a flutter, lifting and lowering. Is anybody breathing? Okay, good. I want to make sure we don't lose that. Okay, and then relax all of that. Let your arms hang down by your sides and notice how heavy your arms feel. Right? They should feel like they weigh probably 20 pounds each. So let's roll those shoulders forward, up, back, and down a couple of times. Good. And then reverse direction. So the reverse direction should feel a little bit weird. Right, so we all have one way we like to move the shoulders and the other way just feels strange. All right, and then we're going to let the arms rest on the lap. So we're going to switch gears a little bit, give the upper body and the arms and shoulders a little bit of a rest and move down toward the legs. So have your right leg extended, heel on the floor, and we're going to squeeze and extend the toes. Squeeze and extend the toes. Good. Breathing in, breathing out. Notice how the toes are moving this morning. Sometimes the toes kind of mirror what happens in the fingers, right? So if the fingers are a little stiff, sometimes the toes are a little stiff. So we'll start to point and flex that foot. Now, if you've got something happening in your hip or your leg that doesn't allow you to lift your foot off the floor and hold it like that, you can always keep your heel on the floor and just point and flex that way. Okay. And then we're going to circle around. So same thing, you can keep your heel on the floor or you can have it lifted. If you have your heel lifted, you're actually using the quadriceps muscles. Those are your thigh muscles. Super important for maintaining mobility and independence. So I like to use those as much as I can. And reverse direction. Good, keep breathing. Okay, and then heel comes down to the floor. Keep that leg extended, toes lifted toward your shin, and we're going to rotate the whole leg in and out. So we're doing some rotation from the ankle, a little bit in the knee, and then all the way up to the hip. So if you take your hand and just place it up here at the top of your thigh, you should feel underneath your hand, you should feel that rotation happening. That is your leg bone, your femur, and your femur right now is rotating in the hip socket. So that's what you're feeling, is the rotation of the femur. Well, you're feeling all the muscles. If you were feeling your femur, that would be a big problem because it's buried deep under all those muscles. Okay, and now your toes raised straight up in sort of that 12 o'clock position. Take your hands to your chair right alongside you. Kind of push down a little bit and see if you can get a little more length in your spine. And when you get that length in your spine, pull your belly in a little bit. So by pulling your belly in, you're giving your back and your leg a little bit of support for this movement that we're going to do next, which is to bend the knee and bring the foot under the chair and then extend. So we're bending and extending. So this is working the knee, and it's working those upper thigh muscles. Breathing in and breathing out, nice and gentle. And the next time that your knee is bent, we're going to put the foot on the floor so that you're stretching the underside of the foot, the underside of the toes, and then slide or walk your foot back a little bit till you can really feel that. Push down into your foot. So when you push down into your foot, there's a couple of things you might feel. The underside of your toes, you might be getting a deeper stretch there. You might be feeling something in your lower leg or your upper leg. You could be feeling it around your knee, or you could even be feeling it up into your hip, right? So you're going to press strongly into your toes as if you were going to stand up on that foot, and then relax it. And breathe, pressing down strongly into the foot, and then relax. And we're going to keep doing this. So keep breathing, keep pressing and then relaxing. Pressing and then relaxing. Couple more times. Good. Okay. And then relax that a little bit. And now see if you can come up over the top of your foot. So come up onto your tippy toes and then go right onto the top of your foot. So now we're stretching the front of the ankle, the front of the lower leg, the top of the foot. This can get pretty tight for a lot of people. Now, once again, press down into the top of your foot and then relax. You can't do it this way. So you can't put your foot on the floor like this? Okay. So that your foot won't do this on the floor is what you're saying. Okay, so slide your leg back a little bit more. Can your foot go on the floor that way? Okay, yeah. Yep. Okay, yep, so just a little bit farther back will be less of an incline. So somebody who has a little more flexibility might be out a little bit more. So we're pressing down and then relaxing. Good, and breathing. I forgot about that, right? Good. Okay, and then relax that. Let's extend that leg out and just kind of shake it out a little bit. All right, now have your heel on the floor, toes lifted up toward your face. You're going to have your hands here on the chair, sitting up nice and tall. So if your hands are right alongside your hips, that's going to help with your spine being nice and tall. Pull the belly in again. Engage these muscles, the quadriceps muscles, and we're going to lift and lower that heel from the floor. So go nice and slow, right? Especially on the lift, because the tendency is to kind of jerk the leg up on the lift because it's a little easier that way. When we go slow, we're really asking these muscles to do quite a bit. So anybody who's had hip or knee surgery, hip or knee injury, this is one of the movements that they have you do, usually sitting on the bed or sitting on the floor. These are called straight leg raises. So you're using the muscles here to try and firm up, you're doing this exercise to firm up the muscles that support your hip and your knee. And the next time that you lift, you're going to hold here, right? Press out through your heel and draw your toes toward your knee a little bit more. and a little bit more. And breathe as you're doing this. Now notice if you're starting to lose that great posture that you had. See if you can sit up really tall, engaging your belly muscles. Now your leg might be way down and it might be way up high. Doesn't really matter as long as you can feel it in your thigh. Is everybody feeling it in the thigh? Okay. Is anybody not feeling it in the thigh? No. Even if you weren't, you wouldn't say so, right? Because then we'd be here for at least 5 more minutes. So let's see if we can do 3 really long, slow, deep breaths here. Keep pressing out through your heel and drawing your toes up toward your shin. That's 1 breath. And that's 2 breaths. And after your 3rd breath, don't lower it all at once. See if you can take a really long time to lower that leg down. So there might be some activity in that thigh right now, right? A little burning, a little shaking. Little youch, all the way down. Once it's all the way down, you can relax that leg. Give the thigh a nice massage here. Great. Okay, and then let's take the left leg and we're going to extend that out. So we give that right leg a little bit of a rest. Let's start with the toes. Squeezing and then extending the toes. And notice how this foot works. If it's the same as the other foot, if it's a little different. Good. Keep breathing in and out. And then start to point and flex the foot. Now, once again, if you need to have your heel on the floor, you can certainly do this movement with the heel on the floor. Yeah, good. All right, and then we'll circle around. Keep breathing. Those nice, long, slow, round breaths, right? So you breathe in, a little bit of a pause, you breathe out, a little bit of a pause, you breathe in. And reverse direction. Okay, and then heel comes to the floor. We'll do that nice big windshield wiper movement. So with the legs straight, we're going in and out. And if you put your hand right up here at the top of the leg, right? So you want to have it like right where the crease is in your leg, and you should feel underneath your hand, you should feel that upper thigh rotating in and rotating out. So there's your quadriceps muscles here working. It's amazing what the body can do, all the movements we can make. Okay. And then we're going to have the toes up toward the shin. Bring your hands right alongside your hips. Sit up nice and tall. Pull your belly in a little bit, and we're going to do a little bend and extend. Right? So nice and slow, bending and extending. You may notice when you do this on the left side that it's different than it was on the right side. If you've got a different hip, knee, if you've got a aftermarket kind of parts in there, you might not get quite as much of a bend. Usually the original parts have more bend than the replacement parts. Not always. Now that I say that, not always. If you've had some limitation, it might be actually improved. So the next time you bend, we're going to bring the foot to the floor. So you're stretching the underside of the toes, and then you can slide or walk that foot back to wherever it's comfortable for you. I didn't say this on the other side, but see if you can make sure your little toe is actually getting a bit of a stretch here, right? So if your little toe is just hanging out in space, you can angle your heel out to the side a little bit. So press down and then relax. And press down and relax. And keep breathing as you're doing this. So as you're pressing down, you're just getting a little bit more of a stretch for the underside of the foot, the bottom of the toes. And now this might seem kind of silly. Why do I want to stretch my toes, right? Because your toes are really important for balance. If your toes are kind of working as one unit, your ability to balance yourself when you're walking is going to be a little more limited. So think about this. Every time you take a step, all of your body weight is transferred right down onto that foot. You transfer all your body weight. It's quick because you're going one foot after the other. But you've got to have as much real estate on the ground as you possibly can in order to balance well. And the next time that you're pressing down, I'm going to have you hold there and breathe and see if you can feel sensation. Now, I don't know about you all, but for me, I can really feel this in the little toe, and I realize that my little toe doesn't get as much of the action as the other toes get. I also wore pointy shoes in the 80s, right? That squished our feet in. One more breath in and out. Good. Okay, and then come up over the top of the toes and onto the top of the foot a little bit. Well, you're not on the top of the foot, but you're stretching the top of the foot. So once again, if you have some limitation and you need to bring your foot way back, go ahead and do that. Or you can bring it forward a little bit more and then press down into the top of the foot and then relax. So this should never be painful. It might be uncomfortable, but it should never be painful. If it's painful, you don't want to press down. You're just going to kind of hold it there. So we can tend to get a little tight in the lower leg, and that translates into tightness in the ankle and in the foot. And one more time, we're going to press down and then relax that. Good. Let's slide that foot out. Extend the leg. Have the heel on the floor, toes reaching toward your shin. So sitting up nice and tall with the hands here alongside the hips and then bringing the belly in a little bit, we're just going to lift and lower that heel nice and slow. Now when you're lifting and lowering, try to notice, is your body doing this? I'm grossly exaggerating this, but is your body kind of caving in on itself a little bit? Or are you leaning back? Right? Because that can make a difference too. See if you can keep your torso up nice and tall, relaxing your shoulders, breathing in and out, and using these muscles. So the slower you go, the more you're going to use these quadriceps muscles. And the next time you lift, I'm going to ask you to hold and breathe. Bring those toes a little closer to the shin if you can. Squeeze those muscles a little bit more. So we're asking them to do a whole lot of work here today. So like I said before, the quadriceps muscles, these muscles in the top or the front of the thigh rather, these are really important muscles for maintaining your independence and mobility. You need strong quadriceps muscles to get up and down from the chair, to go up and down stairs, get in and out of the car, on and off the toilet, in and out of the shower if you're stepping up over a tub, over the lip of the tub. All the things that keep you independent, right? So we want to make sure these are nice and strong. And can you take 2 more breaths? Whew. We're holding at least twice as long on this side. And with your next exhale, how slowly can you lower down? Wow. Once you get that heel all the way down on the floor, bend the knee and give that thigh a little bit of a massage. Okay, so once again, we worked those quadriceps muscles a little bit here. So we're going to switch gears again and we're going to go back up to the upper body. Take your right arm and we're going to use the elbow and draw some nice big circles on the wall. So breathing in and out. And your circles look like your circles, right? So if you have some shoulder issues, maybe these are your circles. That's fine. Maybe these are your circles. But maybe you've got some better range and you're able to go bigger. So breathe in and out. And then reverse direction. Right? Good. Okay, and now take that elbow and see if you can make a figure 8. And breathe as you're making that figure 8. Good. And now just for fun, reverse 8. That takes a little more brain power, I think, to go reverse with the 8. Okay, and then we're just going to relax that arm. We're going to go right to the left. So take that left elbow. Some nice big circles over there on that other wall. And again, just kind of honoring your own shoulder this morning. So if you've got some discomfort that is preventing you from making big circles, make smaller circles. And then reverse direction. The interesting thing about doing these kinds of exercises is that with consistency, you can get better range, right? And then let's make a figure 8. So when you ask your shoulder to move in a certain way every day, you gain better range. When you limit your shoulder movements, you will lose that range. And then reverse direction. So reversing that direction. Notice if this shoulder works differently than the other one. Okay, and then just kind of let that go. Let's roll the shoulders forward, up, back, and down a little bit. Okay, scoot over to the right side of your chair. We're kind of moving between the upper body and the lower body a little bit here today. So now what we're going to do is make sure you've got, let's see if I want to do it this way. Can you all turn like at an angle on your chair so that the corner of your chair is kind of right between your legs? So it's almost like sitting on a saddle as opposed to sitting on a chair. I think this will be a little easier. So hold on to the seat of your chair with your right hand and your left hand. Pull your belly in a little bit. And now you're going to take your right leg and imagine your right knee. You're going to make some circles with your right knee. This is just like we did with the elbow. Everybody got that? Okay, good, good. Keep breathing. If you're not breathing, start. Okay, reverse direction. If you need to put your foot on the floor, you can do this. See, so I'll just show you what that looks like. So this would be my knee circle with my foot on the floor. That works too. That works too. Okay, let's put that foot on the floor and rest for just a minute. So you notice that your hip, you like to move in one direction and the other direction feels a little weird, right? Because we all like to move in a certain way. So now, for the really fun part, we're going to use the leg, we're going to use that knee, and make a figure 8. Remember, 8 is fatter on the bottom, skinnier on the top. Isn't it? Yeah. No? Oh, not yours. Okay. However you make your 8, that is fine. Okay, can you reverse? Oh my God, right? Asking you to do both? Cheapers. Okay, and then we'll put that foot back down on the floor. Now where you are, you're going to bring your knee in and out. In and out. So you can have your foot on the floor. This is just releasing some of the tension that we just built up in that hip. Okay. And now scoot yourself back to the center of your chair. You're going to take a moment, and I just want you to close your eyes if that's okay, and notice the difference between the right hip and the left hip. Notice what you feel in the leg, in the back. You might feel the muscles in the back of your thigh or the front of your thigh, maybe the inside of your thigh. You might be feeling that way up into the hip that kind of connects into the low back. And then you can let your eyes open. So again, thinking about mobility and joints, right? So your shoulder joints and your hip joints are very similar, but your hips are a little bit stronger because they're providing a lot of support for your body weight. You don't walk on your hands, so your shoulders don't need to have that kind of structure. But if we don't use those kinds of movements in the hip, we lose those kind of movements in the hip. So let's scoot over to the left side and then turn so that you've got the corner of the chair sort of between your legs a little bit here, having the hands on the chair. This just helps to prevent this from happening, guys, right? So, because as soon as I lift my leg, your thigh is pretty heavy relative to your body weight. So if I'm lifting that leg and it's really heavy, I'm going to start to slouch a little bit, and that's going to put a little more pressure on my low back. So just having my hands here, I can lean into the support of my hands and I can use my arms to get that. So let's take that left knee and do some circles. And notice how this leg moves. Okay, so notice if this leg moves a little more freely or a little less freely than the other one. It's always good to notice the difference. Breathe in and breathe out. And then at some point reverse direction, right? And again, just do the best you can. So if you've got something going on in your hip, you're going to make the circles really small. And then let's put that foot on the floor. Let's take a little bit of a rest, just kind of noticing what the hip and leg feel like. Good. And then we'll do our figure eights. So think about making a nice big 8 with the knee, right? And if you really want to get some hip action in there, you can move that lower leg a little from side to side. Is anybody breathing? Trying not to, right? Okay. And reverse direction. Whew. And again, you can be doing this with your foot on the floor, just like you did on the other side. If this is too much, having the leg lifted. Keep breathing. One more time. One more reverse 8. Whew. Put that foot on the floor. Let's come back to the center. Let your hands rest on your thighs. Close your eyes. Take a breath in. Let it out with a sigh. Notice your hips and legs. Notice what you feel on the right side and the left side. And then let your eyes gently open. Hands come right back to the chair a little bit. We're going to do some marching. So lifting the right leg and then the left leg. And lift the right and left legs as high as they'll go. Right? Sit up as tall as you can. Good. Okay. Next time you lift your right, you're going to hold it. And extend your knee. Bend your knee. Place that foot on the floor. Okay, so we're going to do this really slow motion. So seemingly easy movements, but we're doing them with a level of consciousness and awareness that makes them a little more challenging and good for your muscles. So lifting that left knee up, so keep your torso up nice and tall. Keep breathing. Extend, bend, and bring that foot down. Right side, extend, bend, and bring that foot down. Just 2 more on each side, right? So the slower you go, the harder it is, and the more benefit you'll get from it. Last one, you guys. Last one. Extend, bend, and down. Good. Now take your right leg, cross it over your left. Okay, take your left hand to the outside of your right knee, slide your right hand along the bottom of the chair all the way to the back as you twist out to that right side. Turn as far around with your upper body as you can. Breathe in, breathe out. And then unwind. Let's come all the way back around. We're just going to uncross and recross the other way. Okay, so I didn't say this on the other side, I apologize, but if you can't cross knee on top of knee, you can just do ankle on top of ankle. So we're going to take the left hand, we're going to take the right hand to the outside of the left knee, slide the left hand along the chair, all the way back, twist. Let's come all the way around. Breathing in, breathing out. And slowly unwind, come all the way back. Uncross the legs. Good. So we've done a fair amount of work in the arms and the legs, but not a lot in the torso yet. And many of you know that I'm a big fan of doing the 6 movements of the spine every day, right? Anybody been doing that? I'm just curious if that's sticking. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to keep working on this as a regular part of our program. So if you think about how your spine moves, there's 6 ways, according to yoga, 6 ways that your spine move that are essential for keeping your spine healthy. So that's bending forward, right? So if you bring your chin to your chest, so you're going to have your hands on your thighs, chin to your chest, bring your nose down toward your navel, and you're going to lean into the support of your hands, and then come down a little more, bring your forehead down toward the floor. That's called flexion or forward bending. Press into your hands and come all the way up. Okay? And now squeeze your shoulder blades together, bring your chest forward, roll onto the front of your sitting bones, right? So your sitting bones are way down here. You're going to roll onto the front, so you're arching your back. Try not to bring your chin way up. That's a little too much on the neck. So we're going to keep the chin kind of level, breathing in, breathing out. This is called extension or backward bending. So let's go into forward bending again. So chin to chest, nose to navel, forehead to floor. And then extension. As you roll onto the front of your sitting bones, squeeze the shoulder blades together and back. So just a couple more. So you want to make sure your hands are resting on your thighs so you have that little bit of support for your spine. Press into your hands to give that spine a little extra oomph. So one more time, forward and back. Right. And we're going to end on that extension. So squeezing the shoulder blades together. Breathing in, breathing out, and then relaxing and letting that go back to sort of a neutral spine. So the second two, so those are the first two movements. The second two of the 6 are side to side bending, right? So we have forward bending, back bending, and now we're going to bend to the right. So if, again, have your hands on your thighs, you're going to bring your ear to your shoulder. So that stretches the neck part of your spine. And then you're going to bring your shoulder down toward your hip. That stretches the chest part of your spine. And then see if you can bring your head over a little bit more so you feel it maybe down into the hip a little bit. This is really nice to do on the bed if you're sitting on the bed, because you can have your hand kind of resting out there on the side. And then press into your right hand and come all the way up. Good. Give yourself a moment. So left ear to left shoulder to left hip. And then head down toward the floor a little bit more. So you're pressing into that left hand, breathing in, breathing out, and then coming all the way up. So that is the whole movement. Go nice and slow, especially if you have an issue with feeling dizzy or a little bit of vertigo. You want to make sure you do this nice and slowly, pressing into your hand, coming all the way back up. And then over to that left side, same thing. So ear to shoulder first, then shoulder down, then head down. And coming all the way back up. How about one more time on each side? So right ear to right shoulder, shoulder to hip, head to floor, and then all the way up. And last time here on the left, ear to shoulder, shoulder to hip, head toward the floor, not head to the floor, because that would be falling off your chair. And all the way up. Okay, so those are the second two movements of the spine. So when we move to the right, just so you get sort of a visual here, so when I come forward, I'm flexing the front of my body. When I'm moving to the right, I'm flexing the right side of my body. When I'm moving to the left, I'm flexing the left side of my body. So those muscles, when I'm flexing, I'm engaging those muscles. Okay, so the last two movements, and these are always done last because we want to make sure that the spine is able to support a twisting kind of movement. So the last two movements are twisting, and we've done a little bit of twisting already here. So we're going to take the left hand over to the right knee, slide the right hand along the back of the chair, and then turn your head to the right. Look out over your shoulder, then turn your shoulders and your upper back, your mid back, and your low back. Go as far around as you can. Try not to let your sitting bones slide on the chair, though, so you don't want to be twisting in your seat to see. And then unwind and come all the way back around. So when you get back to center, lengthen up through your spine so you're sitting up nice and tall. Take your right hand to your left leg. Take your left hand along the back of the chair, twisting first from the head, the neck, and the shoulders, coming all the way back around, breathing in, breathing out. And then coming all the way back. Let's try that one more time on each side. So again, before you twist, you want to make sure you're lifted and lengthened. You're going to start with the head, the neck, the shoulders, the upper back, mid back, lower back. Breathing in and breathing out, slowly unwinding as you come back to center. Same thing on that other side. So starting with the head, the neck, the shoulders, twisting all the way out to that left side. And then coming all the way back around. Good. Let's roll the shoulders forward, up, back, and down a couple of times. So those are the 6 movements of the spine. And the reason why they're essential is because it keeps the ability of your spine to move freely is important so that your nerves that come from your brain and control the rest of your body, that they're able to do their work, because the nerves come down, the nerve bundle comes down through the center of your spine, and then say in order to control the arm, to get the impulses for the arm, those nerves have to come out through a little opening in the side of the spinal column, in the side of the spine. So if I'm contracted in there, or my muscles are too tight in there, or something is impinging, I might have some neuropathy in my hand. I might have a lack of motor control in my hand. I might have a lack of sensation in my hand or anywhere along my arm. So keeping the movement of the spine open is going to allow that nerve conduction to happen. Likewise with blood flow, because there's blood supply that comes up and down through your spine as well. So thinking about the spine as, I like to think of this a nice healthy spine that's like the fountain of youth, right? So if your spine is nice and open, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel like you can move better. Okay, so comfortably, we're going to do a little meditation here to end. So if you want to put your shoes on, or you want to put your jacket on if you're feeling a little chilly. Debbie did turn up the heat, which was great, so it's nice. I think it's nice and warm in here now. And when you get comfortable, you can close your eyes, and I'll know when we're all ready once I see everybody has their eyes closed. So just take your time and get your things together that you want. Yeah. Oh, sorry. No. Of course, yeah. If you, yeah, this is really fine to do when you're doing meditation, as long as you don't fall asleep and slide off the chair. Yeah, let it all go. So closing your eyes now, tune back into your breath. And just notice how the air is moving in and out of your body. And you don't have to change anything. You don't have to deepen your breath or make it slower or anything like that. Just notice. And see if you can remember what it felt like at the beginning of class, what your breathing felt like at the beginning of class. Notice if there's a little bit of a difference. Maybe there's a different awareness. Maybe there's actually a physical difference in how easily your body's breathing. You might notice that the air moves a little differently through the nostrils. Maybe if you were blocked on one side, maybe it's switched sides now, or maybe it feels more open, or perhaps it just feels the same. As you inhale and exhale, can you feel your body expanding and contracting? Your belly and your rib cage. Can you feel the shoulders rising and falling? And letting the breath get nice and slow. See if you can deepen your inhalations a little bit. And notice where you can sense movement in your body outside of your belly and your rib cage. Almost as if you could sense the breath moving into your arms and legs. And while the air itself doesn't move into your limbs, the breath does move into your limbs through your bloodstream. And the more air you take in, the slower you're breathing, the more oxygen gets delivered to your blood. And that in turn breathes into your arms and legs. better exchange of oxygen through long, slow, deep breaths. See if you can visualize that happening in your body. Visualize that magnificent transport system. And all it takes is long, slow, deep breaths. Allowing the lungs to fill and empty. And know that in any given moment, the most important thing you can do is simply breathe. And put a lot of importance on our to-do lists, on what we should and shouldn't be doing. And yet none of that is possible without the breath. The most important action we make in any moment. Take your hands up to the center of your chest. Just kind of let them rest there and see if you can breathe into the space underneath your hands. See if you can breathe deeply enough that you feel your hands rising and falling. And then let your hands come together. Take a moment and just thank yourself for being here. Thank your body for being willing to do some of this. And just acknowledge all the gifts you've been given in your life, the things you've worked hard for, and the things that have come to you without any effort. And then if you'd like, you can just raise your eyes, maybe just look around the room and give a little hello to everybody here. Great. You're welcome. Enjoy the rest of your day, you guys. Stay warm, and I'll see you next week.